Bellibolt is one of my favorite Pokemon designs from the new Gen 9 games. Bellibolt is a good mix of simple but distinct, with a bit of wordplay in its name, a cute design, a modest stat distribution, and the cool signature ability Electromorphosis, which grants a one-time boost to your electric type attacks after you take damage. Bellibolt is a defensively focused electric type that can make up for its rather low offensive stats thanks to its ability. Despite having a pretty good design overall, Bellibolt has not had a huge amount of competitive success. This is yet another middle-of-the-road Pokemon that most pros wouldn't even consider for their teams, especially for OU. Bellibolt is currently ranked in the PU tier, which is the lowest official Smogon usage tier. While it does have some solid tools like its two great abilities, reliable healing, access to Toxic, which is a bit more scarce now, and that mono-electric typing, which isn't commonly seen on defensive Pokemon, Bellibolt still isn't a super desirable choice in a world where average stats like this don't quite cut it anymore, and also where powerful ground types reign supreme. It certainly doesn't help that another Bolt-themed Pokemon, Raging Bolt, is a far more obvious choice as a bulky electric-type attacker, with its much higher stats, mostly superior typing, and way more offensive tools like Draco Meteor and the signature move Thunderclap. However, amazing, a recent team shared by a player on the Smogon forums managed to achieve an impressive rank of number 2 on the ladder, with a peak rating of 2062, using the overlooked Pokemon, Bellibolt. Bellibolt fills a similar role to Raging Bolt on this team, but with a couple of slight differences that actually ended up being really useful. Bellibolt has shocked the world of competitive singles to its core, reaching heights nobody could have anticipated. How did this happen? Let's take a look at the Bellibolt Rain team that defied the odds. But first, don't forget to subscribe to the Jimothy Cool channel to further increase my horsepower, which correlates directly with my subscriber count. I'm currently at a respectable 69,771 horsepower, but I'm going to need a bit more if I want to be an official member of the horse community. Thank you. Raging Bolt is the all-new past paradox form of Raikou. This Pokemon has a comically large neck and looks quite ridiculous. But despite these shortcomings, Raging Bolt has proven itself the most powerful new paradox form from Gen 9's most recent DLC release. This Pokemon is an excellent bulky attacker with great defensive advantages and impressive damage output. With tools like Calm Mind and Booster Energy, Raging Bolt can very easily boost up to insane levels and act as a team's win condition. Raging Bolt also has the signature move Thunderclap, a special attacking priority move that only works if the enemy uses an attack. This is basically a special attacking electric type version of the move Sucker Punch, and a tremendous way to make up for Raging Bolt's below average speed. This long-necked champion can fit on any style of team, but it also happens to synergize well with both popular weather effects, sun and rain. Thanks to the ability Photosynthesis, Raging Bolt gets a boost to its highest stat under the sun, and can even turn the move Weather Ball into a powerful sun-boosted fire-type attack. Under the rain, Raging Bolt can take advantage of the powerful move Thunder, which now cannot miss, and Weather Ball becomes Water-type instead, a fantastic complementary type for electric, allowing you to threaten ground types. Raging Bolt can be very effective as an Assault Vest pivot on rain teams, giving you a bit of defensive backbone and abusing Volt Switch to deal big damage, while switching out to keep momentum up and help your other offensive threats hit the field more safely. But Raging Bolt does have its exploitable flaws. A Dragon typing is mostly good for its additional resistances and stab damage, but it also adds two weaknesses to enemy Dragon and Fairy type attacks. As an Assault Vest pivot, you want to be able to reliably switch in against most of the tier's special threats, but against such foes as Dragapult, Iron Valiant, and Primarina, a Dragon typing can actually make this a bit difficult. Primarina has been seeing a significant rise in popularity this generation, and this is bad news for rain teams. Your rain inadvertently buffs their water type attacks, and they're bulky enough to shrug off and resist much of your water type damage output too. The fact that Primarina is a fairy type also punishes popular dragon type rain abusers like Walking Wake and of course Raging Bolt. But what if there was a particular Pokemon with similar tools to Raging Bolt, but without these unfortunate drawbacks from dragon typing? It turns out that one specific Pokemon is our favorite frog, Bellibolt himself. Bellibolt is simply an electric type. Electric is a good, neutral defensive type with only one weakness to ground, and ground is not a common special attacking type, making Bellibolt well suited to the role of all-purpose special wall. So with a boost in special bulk from an Assault Vest, Bellibolt Bellibolt is actually a bit better at switching in on those Dragon and Fairy type moves than Raging Bolt is. And amazingly, Bellibolt has all the same tools that Raging Bolt would use on a bulky pivoting set like this. It also has Thunder, Weather Ball, and Volt Switch. You may not have Thunderclap, but that's alright. The set used on this top-ranking ladder team had Terra Blast in the final slot with a Fairy Terra type, which funnily enough is a great way to catch an enemy Raging Bolt off guard with surprise super effective damage. Bellibolt's ability Electromorphosis also allows it to achieve a higher damage output with electric moves than Raging Bolt can, and is perfect for such a fast-paced, high momentum team. After taking any kind of damage from an attack, the damage of Bellibolt's next electric type attack will be doubled. Double damage is massive, especially with the high base power of Thunder. An effective 140 power Volt Switch is nothing to sneeze at either. This ability is also effective at baiting in ground types who are afraid of that incoming electric move and sniping them with Weather Ball. Most players probably aren't super familiar with Bellibolt's tools, so this would be an effective bait to catch them off guard. This creative set perfectly takes advantage of Bellibolt's unique strengths and is a rare instance of this honest, hardworking Pokemon actually outclassing the elite, top-tier Raging Bolt. This isn't the only novel set on this team though. The NU-ranked Basculegion is also being used here with the ability Adaptability, rather than the more common Swift Swim. Adaptability increases the bonus of stab damage from 1.5 to 2 times, making Basculegion a frightening wall breaker with its massive water-type attacks under the rain. Hard-hitting Aqua Jets and Flip Turns are a fantastic option. And this actually synergizes quite well with Bellibolt, who can improve your matchup against the enemy water types that resist Basculegion's moves. Dragonite is a fairly standard Pokemon for Gen 9 OU, but the set on this team is also quite unique. Rather than a typical Dragon Dance boost sweeper, this is a specially leaning mixed Dragonite using Hurricane, Draco Meteor, Low Kick, and Roost. Hurricane is an amazing move on rain teams since it's unable to miss. Dragonite really helps out the team's matchups against grass types. You resist their attacks and shrug off most damage thanks to multi-scale. Plus you threaten them super effectively with a massive stab Hurricane. Dragonite is particularly effective against Ogerpon Wellspring, who is an otherwise terrible matchup for rain. Ogerpon Wellspring threatens all your water types and is totally immune to water itself. Having some sort of plan against this Pokemon is mandatory for rain. Dragonite is an excellent option. Low Kick can even improve the team's matchup against the tier's #1 threat, Kingambit. Let's take a look at a real example of Bellibolt's unique advantages in this replay from a high ladder game. So here's one of the many games played by me and the RZA here, with Bellibolt Rain on the journey to #2 on the ladder. As you can see, both these players have a badge, which is fun, indicating a top ladder position. And this is up against a Volcanion Spikes balance, it looks like, which can be a kind of a rough matchup because Volcanion has Water Absorb, and you rely so heavily on rain-boosted water moves. So we'll see how this Bellibolt Rain team overcomes such a matchup, and leading with Bellibolt looks like it was a good choice. Forcing out that Volcanion turn 1, allowing for a pivot into Pelipper to establish Rain safely, and Pelipper now forcing out the Gliscor, so starting off with some momentum already. You could go for a U-turn here or just a simple Surf. It was just a simple Surf, no need to get crazy because Surf does hit most of the enemy's team quite well. Clefable tricked a Sticky Barb onto the Iron Treads, but that's no worries. The Iron Treads doesn't need to stick around that long. It's a fast-paced team. This trick Sticky Barb strategy can really cause you problems if you get your item removed on like a, I don't know, a Dondozo or something, but this Iron Treads, he doesn't care. He just wants to get rocks on the field, rapid spin the enemy's rocks. And here's the Dragonite, posing a big threat with Hurricane right here. What's nice about the Dragonite is against, a water absorber on the enemy team, you have a source of damage other than just water type attacks. You got the big stab Hurricane. Goes for a Draco Meteor when Rain runs out for a more accurate move, but unfortunately the Clefable pivots in. Missed Hurricane would have been pretty neutral though anyway because of the healing. Activating the eject button that was tricked onto it, that was a cool play because the damn guy had an eject button tricked onto it from Iron Treads. What a world. It's going to die to the chip damage there, but free pivot into anything you want, of course. Pelipper with the world at its feet. Probably going to U-turn here just to pivot into one of the many threats available, and it is Basculegion, who is outrunning everything and threatening enormous damage right here. Perhaps forcing in Volcanion. There's a bit of a mind game. Every time a water type is in, you go Volcanion or not. Didn't do it that time and earned a KO on Gliscor. Enormous. So that's a value generator out of the picture for our opponent. This Volcanion has committed to a terastallization as well, for some defensive value. And this Clefable, happy to come in against Dragonite. But Basculegion entering on what could be a heal. It was actually a Stealth Rock, but Basculegion's still in a commanding position. And Flip Turn just KOs. Flip Turn only has 60 power, but with Adaptability and Rain, the ability to just pivot and deal that much damage is so valuable. Dragonite's going to come in here, take a lot of hazards. It does have the Eject Pack, so vulnerable to Stealth Rock. But here, I think, is where Bellibolt is about to have its day. Look at this, folks. Look at this right here. Stomachs the rain-boosted Steam Eruption, gets burned, and hits him with the huge Thunder. And might I add, Volcanion defensively terastallized, even trying to dodge the super effective damage. Bellibolt still KOs it, and that was the biggest wall, because of Water Absorb, against this Rain team's game plan. Now it's just gone in a single hit with probably very unexpected amount of damage there from the opponent. You could see the value of Bellibolt. It just literally sniped the biggest threat that this team had, and now these two Rain abusers. Rain is up for enough turns to very easily just click your moves, and nothing is remaining on the enemy team to really do much about it. Corviknight's here. It can maybe live a hit, but for how long? And then a simple Aqua Jet will clean this one up against Weavile, and that's a great showcase of how Bellibolt can come in handy against some of Rain's toughest matchups by not only just providing a tiniest little bit of defensive backbone, because this team is like all-in offense basically, except for Pelip or maybe Iron Treads. But Bellibolt, it's got the Assault Vest on, it can stomach one or two important hits and then get a big surprise KO pretty often with Electromorphosis, which very underrated ability. So much damage output from that. One hit, a terastallized Volcanion. Very cool team. Really love the creativity. What do you think of the team, folks? And how are you feeling about the Gen 9 metagame recently? I feel like there's been a surprising amount of variety in Gen 9 OU, and I have been enjoying it a bit more recently. I feel like there's actually some creative stuff happening. It's stabilizing quite a bit. It doesn't feel like the broken mess that it was a few months ago, does it? But what do you think? Let me know down below in the comments, and thank you for watching.